Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to share with you a vital lesson on how to handle disrespect without losing your strength or integrity. Life will test us. Sometimes people will cross boundaries or show us disrespect. But remember, what truly defines us is how we respond in those moments. Let's explore 5 essential principles. Things you must never do when someone disrespects you. Maintaining self-respect is the foundation of a strong and resilient character. It is the inner compass that guides how you perceive yourself and how you allow others to treat you. When someone disrespects you, your immediate instinct might be to react emotionally or defensively. However, the true measure of strength lies in how you choose to uphold your dignity amidst such challenges. Self-respect is not simply about pride or arrogance. It is about recognizing your inherent worth and refusing to let others diminish it through their words or actions. It is a conscious decision to honor yourself regardless of external circumstances. When faced with disrespect, it's natural to feel hurt, angry, or disappointed. These feelings are valid, but they should not dictate your response. Instead, remind yourself of your value and that no one has the power to take that away unless you allow them. Self-respect involves setting a mental boundary that says, "I am worthy of respect," and it's a boundary that you must reinforce every time someone crosses a line. This doesn't mean you become confrontational or aggressive. Rather, it means you hold on to your integrity and refuse to compromise your dignity. Maintaining self-respect also means understanding your worth beyond external validation. Too often, we seek approval from others to feel good about ourselves. When someone disrespects us, we might be tempted to retaliate or to try to prove our worth through confrontation. But true self-respect is rooted in an internal sense of value that doesn't depend on others' opinions. It's about knowing who you are, what you stand for, and being confident enough to stand firm. This confidence does not waver even when others belittle or insult you. You recognize that their behavior reflects their character, not yours. Another aspect of maintaining self-respect is the willingness to walk away from situations or people that consistently undermine your dignity. If you allow disrespect to go unchallenged or unaddressed, you send a message to yourself and others that your boundaries are weak or negotiable. This can lead to a cycle of mistreatment where your self-worth diminishes over time. Instead, know when to stand your ground and when to disengage. Walking away from disrespect isn't a sign of weakness. It's a display of strength and self-awareness. It demonstrates that you value yourself enough to protect your emotional and mental well-being. Furthermore, maintaining self-respect involves being honest with yourself about your feelings and reactions. If someone disrespects you and you respond with anger or frustration, acknowledge those feelings without letting them control your actions. Self-respect means owning your emotions but not being ruled by them. It means choosing a response that aligns with your values and preserves your dignity, rather than succumbing to impulsive reactions that might harm your reputation or self-esteem. It's also essential to remember that respecting yourself includes taking responsibility for your choices. If you find yourself in a situation where disrespect occurs, reflect on how you might have contributed or how you can set better boundaries in the future. Self-respect is a continuous journey of growth and self-improvement. It's about learning from each experience and becoming more adept at protecting your dignity. This might involve developing assertiveness skills, practicing self-compassion, or seeking clarity about your personal limits. In the face of disrespect, maintain a mindset that values your self-worth above momentary insults or provocations. When you uphold your self-respect, you communicate a powerful message to others that your dignity is non-negotiable. People are more likely to treat you with respect when they see that you respect yourself. Conversely, if you tolerate disrespect or diminish your own worth, you inadvertently send a message that you are willing to accept such treatment. The way you carry yourself, the boundaries you establish, and your unwavering belief in your own worth all reinforce your self-respect. Self-respect also involves forgiving yourself for past mistakes and recognizing that your worth isn't defined by any single incident or person's opinion. It's a holistic acknowledgement that you are deserving of kindness, fairness, and dignity simply because you are human. When someone disrespects you, it's an opportunity to reaffirm this belief. Instead of internalizing the insult or letting it chip away at your confidence, remind yourself of your intrinsic value. This internal affirmation strengthens your resilience and helps you navigate future challenges with grace and dignity. Ultimately, maintaining self-respect is about embodying a sense of inner strength that is unshaken by external negativity. It's about knowing that you are enough, just as you are, and refusing to let anyone's disrespect undermine that truth. It's a daily practice of self-awareness, boundary setting, and inner confidence. When you consistently uphold your self-respect, you cultivate a life rooted in authenticity and integrity, attracting healthier relationships and fostering a sense of peace within yourself. Self-respect is the armor that protects your spirit and the foundation from which you can face any adversity with courage and dignity. Remaining calm and composed in the face of disrespect is one of the most powerful tools you can develop in your personal growth journey. When someone crosses boundaries or speaks to you in a disrespectful manner, it's natural to feel a surge of emotion. Anger, frustration, disappointment, or even shame. These reactions are human, but how you choose to handle those emotions determines your character and the outcome of the situation. Staying calm and composed is not just about suppressing feelings. It's about mastering your internal state so that your response is measured, thoughtful, and aligned with your values. In moments of disrespect, your immediate instinct might be to retaliate, to shout back, or to lash out in some way. However, these impulsive reactions often escalate the situation rather than resolve it. When you remain calm, you create a space of clarity and control that allows you to respond intentionally rather than react impulsively. Calmness is a sign of inner strength. It demonstrates that you are not easily shaken or disturbed by external negativity. It signals to others that you value your peace of mind and that you are not willing to be dragged into chaos or conflict. Maintaining composure involves more than just controlling your outward appearance. It requires mastery over your internal state. This begins with deep breathing. When you feel anger or hurt rising within you, take slow, deliberate breaths. Inhale deeply through your nose, hold for a moment, and exhale slowly through your mouth. This simple act can reduce tension, lower your heart rate, and center your mind. It's a powerful technique that helps you create a pause between stimulus and response, giving you the space to choose how to act thoughtfully. Another aspect of staying calm and composed is developing emotional awareness. Recognize and accept your feelings without judgment. Instead of denying your anger or frustration, acknowledge their presence. This awareness prevents these emotions from overwhelming you or causing you to act impulsively. Once you acknowledge how you feel, you can consciously decide to respond in a way that aligns with your higher self rather than reacting purely based on emotion. This mindful approach ensures that your response is deliberate, respectful, and effective. Maintaining a composed demeanor also involves perspective. When someone disrespects you, try to see the situation from a broader point of view. Often, disrespectful behavior is a reflection of the other person's internal struggles, insecurities, or frustrations. It might not be about you at all. Recognizing this helps you detach emotionally and prevents you from taking their words or actions personally. When you understand that their disrespect is a projection of their own issues, it becomes easier to stay calm and avoid escalating the conflict. This perspective grants you emotional distance, enabling you to respond with compassion or firmness rather than anger. Furthermore, staying calm and composed allows you to think strategically rather than react impulsively. When you are upset, your judgment can become clouded, leading to decisions you might later regret. By maintaining your composure, you preserve your ability to analyze the situation objectively. Ask yourself, what is the most constructive response? How can I convey my boundaries without losing my dignity? What outcome do I want to achieve? These questions help guide your response in a way that de-escalates the situation and preserves your self-respect. The power of remaining calm also lies in its influence on others. When you respond to disrespect with a steady, composed attitude, it often disarms the aggressor. They may expect a fiery response, but instead they encounter someone who is unshaken. This can cause them to reevaluate their behavior and perhaps even feel ashamed of their actions. Your calmness becomes a silent but powerful statement. I am in control of myself, and your disrespect does not define me. This demeanor can shift the entire dynamic of the interaction, moving it from conflict to resolution. Staying composed is also an act of self-care. It protects your mental and emotional well-being. When you respond with anger or frustration, it drains your energy and leaves you feeling upset or exhausted afterward. Conversely, maintaining your calm preserves your peace of mind and reinforces your sense of inner stability. It enables you to handle future challenges more effectively because you have practiced self-control in difficult moments. This resilience becomes a part of your character, making you less vulnerable to manipulation or provocation. Developing the habit of staying calm and composed requires consistent practice and patience. It's not always easy, especially in emotionally charged situations, but with perseverance, it becomes second nature. Techniques such as visualization, positive affirmations, and mindfulness meditation can strengthen your ability to remain centered. Visualize yourself responding calmly in challenging scenarios. Repeat affirmations like, I am in control of my emotions, or I choose peace over chaos. Engage in mindfulness exercises that cultivate present moment awareness, helping you stay grounded regardless of external circumstances. Ultimately, the goal is to cultivate a sense of inner peace that remains unshaken by external upheavals. When you develop the discipline to stay calm and composed, you create a protective barrier around your emotional state. Disrespectful behavior from others loses its power over you because you refuse to give it that power. Your calmness becomes a reflection of your confidence, strength, and unwavering commitment to your dignity. It's a sign that no matter what others say or do, your peace of mind remains intact, and your response will always be aligned with your highest values. This mental and emotional mastery not only elevates your character, but also inspires those around you to seek the same peace and resilience in their own lives. Choosing to avoid retaliation in the face of disrespect or provocation is a profound demonstration of strength, self-control, and emotional maturity. When someone insults, dismisses, or harms you, the natural instinct for many is to respond in kind, to retaliate, to defend oneself aggressively, or to seek revenge. However, such reactions often escalate conflicts, deepen wounds, and can damage your reputation and self-respect. Avoiding retaliation is not about cowardice or weakness. It is about exercising wisdom and restraint, recognizing that responding with anger or hostility rarely leads to constructive outcomes. Instead, it preserves your dignity, maintains your peace of mind, and often diffuses tense situations before they spiral out of control. Retaliation often stems from a desire to regain control or to punish the other person for their disrespect. While this impulse is understandable, it is rooted in a reactive mindset that can trap you in a cycle of negativity. When you retaliate, you give power to the provocateur, allowing their actions to dictate your emotional state and your behavior. This can lead to a cycle in which both parties become entrenched in hostility, each escalating their responses in an attempt to outdo the other. Such cycles drain your energy, cloud your judgment, and ultimately diminish your sense of self-worth. Choosing not to retaliate is an act of self-empowerment that demonstrates mastery over your impulses and a commitment to higher principles. Avoiding retaliation requires cultivating patience and self-awareness. It involves recognizing the initial trigger, an insult, a dismissive comment, or an unfair act, and consciously deciding not to respond with anger or aggression. Instead, take a moment to breathe, to center yourself, and to assess the situation from a broader perspective. Ask yourself whether responding aggressively will lead to a positive outcome or whether it will only escalate the conflict. Often, the wisest course is to remain silent or to respond in a calm, measured manner that neutralizes the hostility without adding fuel to the fire. This might mean simply walking away from a heated exchange, refusing to engage in shouting matches, or choosing to respond with kindness or indifference rather than hostility. One of the most powerful reasons to avoid retaliation is that it preserves your integrity. When you respond with calmness and dignity, you send a message that you do not need to stoop to the level of insult or aggression to defend yourself. This posture of non-retaliation demonstrates strength of character and shows others that your self-respect is not contingent on winning conflicts or asserting dominance through hostility. It also reinforces your internal sense of self-worth, reminding you that your value is not determined by how others treat you or how you respond to provocation. In fact, choosing restraint often earns you respect from observers and can disarm the attacker, who may have expected a fiery response that would escalate the situation. Furthermore, avoiding retaliation helps you maintain emotional clarity. When you react impulsively, your emotions can cloud your judgment, causing you to say or do things you might later regret. By consciously choosing not to retaliate, you create space for rational thinking and emotional regulation. This space allows you to respond thoughtfully, perhaps with a simple assertion of boundaries or a respectful disengagement. Over time, practicing this restraint strengthens your emotional resilience, making it easier to remain composed in future conflicts. It also cultivates a mindset of patience and understanding, recognizing that not every insult or provocation warrants a response. In many situations, retaliation can also backfire, leading to unintended consequences. For example, retaliatory actions might provoke further hostility, damage relationships, or harm your reputation. They can cause others to view you as vindictive or aggressive, which can impact your personal and professional life. Conversely, a reputation for calmness and fairness often garners trust and admiration. People respect those who can handle conflict gracefully and refuse to be dragged into petty disputes. In the long run, avoiding retaliation supports your goal of maintaining harmonious relationships and a peaceful mind. It's important to recognize that avoiding retaliation does not mean you are passive or that you condone disrespectful behavior. It simply means you choose not to respond with hostility or revenge. You can set firm boundaries, communicate assertively, and stand up for yourself without resorting to aggression. For instance, if someone insults you, you might calmly state that their words are uncalled for, or that you prefer to engage in respectful dialogue. If someone continues to disrespect you, walking away or disengaging altogether is often the most effective response. This approach demonstrates confidence and self-control, showing that you value your peace and refuse to be drawn into a cycle of hostility. Practicing restraint also involves understanding the difference between responding and reacting. Reacting is impulsive and driven by emotion. Responding is deliberate and thoughtful. When you react, you often say or do things in the heat of the moment that you later regret. When you respond, you do so with awareness, choosing words and actions that align with your values and serve your best interests. Avoiding retaliation is about making the conscious choice to respond rather than react, thereby maintaining your composure and integrity. Over time, cultivating the ability to avoid retaliation becomes a key aspect of emotional intelligence. It enhances your capacity for patience, empathy, and understanding. It allows you to see conflicts from different perspectives and to choose responses that promote peace rather than chaos. It also reinforces the idea that your self-worth does not depend on winning conflicts or proving others wrong. Instead, it relies on your ability to stay true to your principles, to handle adversity with grace, and to maintain inner peace regardless of external circumstances. Ultimately, avoiding retaliation is a sign of true strength, a strength rooted in self-control, dignity, and wisdom. It empowers you to navigate difficult interactions with calmness and confidence, preserving your mental and emotional well-being. By practicing restraint, you demonstrate that your inner peace is more valuable than any temporary victory gained through hostility. This attitude not only elevates your character, but also sets a powerful example for others, inspiring them to approach conflicts with patience and understanding. Over time, this approach fosters healthier relationships, a more peaceful mind, and a life characterized by integrity and resilience. The ability to choose your response wisely is one of the most vital skills you can develop for personal growth, emotional intelligence, and maintaining harmony in your life. Every situation you encounter presents an opportunity to react impulsively or to respond thoughtfully. The difference between the two can significantly influence your relationships, your inner peace, and your overall sense of fulfillment. When faced with challenges, conflicts, or even everyday annoyances, your response can either escalate the situation or bring about resolution and understanding. Making deliberate choices about how to respond rather than reacting impulsively is a mark of maturity and wisdom, and it requires conscious effort and self-awareness. Often, in moments of stress or frustration, the default reaction is to respond out of emotion. Anger, frustration, fear, or defensiveness. These reactions are natural. They stem from our instinctual desire to protect ourselves or to assert control. However, impulsive reactions tend to be driven by temporary feelings and can lead to regrets, damaged relationships, or unnecessary conflict. When you pause and choose your response wisely, you step back from the immediate emotional surge and create space for rational thinking and compassionate action. This pause allows you to evaluate the situation objectively, consider the possible consequences, and respond in a manner that aligns with your values and long-term goals. Choosing your response wisely begins with cultivating self-awareness. It involves recognizing your emotional triggers and understanding how certain situations evoke particular reactions within you. For example, if you notice that criticism tends to make you defensive, or that disrespectful behavior triggers anger, you can become more conscious of these patterns. Self-awareness gives you the power to interrupt automatic reactions and to consider alternative responses that are more constructive. It's about developing the habit of observing your thoughts and feelings without immediately acting on them, creating a reflective space that enables better decision-making. Another crucial aspect of choosing your response wisely is practicing empathy. When you encounter a difficult person or a challenging situation, try to see things from their perspective. Ask yourself what might be motivating their behavior or what underlying issues they might be facing. This empathetic approach allows you to respond with compassion rather than hostility or frustration. It can transform a potentially confrontational exchange into an opportunity for understanding and connection. Empathy doesn't mean you have to accept disrespect or harmful behavior, but it helps you craft responses that are firm yet respectful, assertive but compassionate. Timing also plays a significant role in making wise responses. Sometimes, the best course of action is to delay your response until you can approach the situation with a clear mind. Taking a moment to breathe, count to 10, or step away from the situation can prevent impulsive reactions that might escalate conflicts. This strategic pause helps you to assess the best way to communicate your feelings or boundaries without reacting emotionally in the heat of the moment. When you respond thoughtfully, you are more likely to foster understanding and cooperation rather than defensiveness and resistance. Choosing your response wisely also involves considering the impact of your words and actions not only on others, but also on yourself. Your responses reflect your character and integrity. Responding with kindness, patience, or assertiveness can elevate your interactions and build stronger relationships. Conversely, responding with hostility, sarcasm, or indifference often damages trust and creates barriers to effective communication. Remember, words are powerful. They can heal or hurt, motivate or demoralize. Being intentional about your language and tone ensures that your responses serve your best interests and uphold your dignity. In addition, responding wisely requires a focus on solutions rather than problems. Instead of dwelling on what went wrong or assigning blame, shift your attention toward finding constructive ways to address the issue. This proactive mindset fosters cooperation and progress. For example, if someone criticizes your work unfairly, instead of becoming defensive, you might respond by seeking clarification or offering to discuss how to improve. This approach demonstrates resilience and openness, turning a potentially negative encounter into an opportunity for growth. Practicing mindfulness and emotional regulation techniques can significantly enhance your ability to choose responses wisely. Mindfulness meditation, for instance, trains you to remain present and aware of your thoughts and feelings without judgment. This awareness helps you to recognize when you are reacting impulsively and to choose a more deliberate response. Deep breathing, grounding exercises, and positive affirmations can also help calm your mind and body, making it easier to respond with clarity and composure. Ultimately, choosing your response wisely is about owning your power in every interaction. It's about recognizing that while you cannot always control what others say or do, you do have control over how you choose to react. This realization is empowering because it shifts the focus from external circumstances to your internal state and decisions. It encourages you to act in alignment with your values, to demonstrate integrity, and to foster peace within yourself and in your relationships. Over time, consistently making thoughtful responses reinforces your emotional strength and resilience. It cultivates patience, empathy, and wisdom, qualities that improve your interactions and lead to more meaningful connections. It also reduces unnecessary conflicts and misunderstandings, creating a more harmonious environment both internally and externally. Learning to choose your response wisely is a lifelong practice, an ongoing commitment to personal development, emotional mastery, and living intentionally. It transforms everyday encounters into opportunities for growth and exemplifies the true power of mindfully navigating life's complexities. Setting boundaries is an essential act of self-respect and self-care that empowers you to define what is acceptable and what is not in your personal and professional life. It is a clear expression of your limits, values, and needs, allowing you to protect your emotional, mental, and physical well-being. Many people struggle with establishing boundaries because they fear rejection, confrontation, or appearing selfish. However, understanding that boundaries are necessary for healthy relationships and personal growth is vital. When you set boundaries effectively, you create a framework that fosters mutual respect, enhances your self-awareness, and prevents burnout. It reminds others that your time, energy, and emotions are valuable and deserve to be honored. Boundaries can take many forms, including physical, emotional, mental, and time boundaries. Physical boundaries relate to your personal space and physical comfort, such as how close someone can stand to you or what touch you are comfortable with. Emotional boundaries involve protecting your feelings and limiting how much emotional energy you give to others or how much you allow others to influence your emotional state. Mental boundaries refer to your thoughts, opinions, and beliefs, and how open you are to others' perspectives without compromising your integrity. Time boundaries are about managing your schedule and commitments, ensuring you have enough space for rest, reflection, and personal pursuits. Recognizing which boundaries you need to establish in different areas of your life is the first step toward creating a healthier, more balanced existence. One of the most challenging aspects of setting boundaries is overcoming the fear of conflict or rejection. Many individuals worry that asserting their limits will lead to discomfort or strained relationships. However, unassertive behavior often results in feeling overwhelmed, resentful, or taken advantage of. When you communicate your boundaries clearly and assertively, you send a message that you value yourself and your needs. This does not mean being aggressive or confrontational. Rather, it involves expressing yourself with calmness, respect, and firmness. For example, if a coworker consistently assigns you extra tasks beyond your capacity, you might say, "I appreciate your trust, but I am unable to take on additional responsibilities right now. I need to focus on my current workload." This kind of communication is direct yet polite, and it establishes your limits without creating hostility. Setting boundaries also requires consistency. Once you've communicated your limits, it's important to uphold them. If you set a boundary but then allow others to disregard it repeatedly, it sends mixed signals and weakens your position. For instance, if you decide that you will not respond to work emails after hours, but then you frequently answer late night messages, others may assume your boundary is negotiable. Consistency reinforces your message and helps others understand that your boundaries are serious and non-negotiable. Over time, this consistency cultivates respect and understanding from those around you, who learn to honor your limits. Another vital aspect of setting boundaries is self-awareness. You need to understand your own needs, values, and triggers to establish effective limits. Reflect on what drains your energy, what makes you uncomfortable, or what you find unacceptable. For example, if you recognize that engaging in certain conversations makes you anxious or upset, you can establish a mental boundary by politely steering the discussion away or excusing yourself. Self-awareness also involves recognizing when your boundaries are being tested or crossed, so you can address the situation promptly. This might mean saying no to an invitation that conflicts with your priorities, or declining to participate in activities that do not align with your values. Effective boundary setting also involves learning to say no without guilt. Many people struggle with guilt when declining requests, especially from friends, family, or colleagues. Remember that saying no is a necessary act of self-preservation and self-respect. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and constantly sacrificing your needs for others leads to resentment and burnout. Practice saying no assertively and kindly, emphasizing that your refusal is about honoring your limits, not about rejecting the person. For example, "Thank you for thinking of me, but I won't be able to help with that project right now." This straightforward response communicates your decision without unnecessary justification or apology. Furthermore, setting boundaries often involves having difficult conversations. It can be uncomfortable to confront others about your limits, especially if they are accustomed to taking advantage or pushing boundaries. However, honest communication is crucial for maintaining healthy relationships. Approach these conversations with empathy and clarity, focusing on how you feel rather than assigning blame. Use statements to express your needs, such as, "I feel overwhelmed when I don't have enough personal time, so I need to limit my commitments outside of work." This approach minimizes defensiveness and encourages understanding. Respecting your boundaries is equally important. Once you establish limits, you must honor them yourself. This means following through with your commitments to self-care and not allowing others to undermine your boundaries out of convenience or guilt. It also involves recognizing that boundaries are not static. They may evolve over time as your needs and circumstances change. Regularly reassess your limits and adjust them as necessary. Being flexible does not mean compromising your core values or well-being, but it allows for growth and adaptation in different contexts. setting boundaries is an act of self-love and respect. It is about acknowledging your worth and protecting your energy so you can show up fully for yourself and others. It fosters healthier relationships built on mutual understanding and respect, reducing misunderstandings and resentment. When you set boundaries, you create a safe space where your needs are acknowledged and honored, enabling you to live authentically and with integrity. It's a continuous process that requires courage, patience, and self-awareness, but the benefits, improved well-being, stronger relationships, and a greater sense of control, are well worth the effort. Boundaries are not barriers to connection, they are the foundation for genuine, respectful, and sustainable relationships. The pursuit of learning and growth is a lifelong journey that enriches our lives in countless ways. It is a fundamental aspect of human nature to seek understanding, improve oneself, and evolve through experiences. Learning isn't confined to formal education or academic settings. It encompasses every interaction, challenge, and opportunity that life presents. Growth, on the other hand, involves applying what we learn, overcoming limitations, and transforming ourselves into better versions of who we are. Embracing a mindset of continuous learning and growth fosters resilience, adaptability, and a deeper sense of purpose. It encourages us to view setbacks not as failures but as valuable lessons, and to see success not as an endpoint, but as a stepping stone toward further development. To truly learn and grow, one must cultivate curiosity and openness. Curiosity fuels the desire to explore new ideas, challenge assumptions, and seek out new experiences. An open mind allows us to accept feedback, consider different perspectives, and remain receptive to change. When we approach life with curiosity, we see every moment as an opportunity to expand our understanding. Whether it's learning a new skill, developing a new habit, or simply listening to someone else's story, every act of learning adds depth to our knowledge and broadens our horizons. Growth often requires stepping outside of comfort zones, embracing discomfort, and confronting uncertainty. It is through these moments of challenge that we discover our strengths and uncover areas for improvement. Learning and growth also involve humility, the recognition that no matter how much we know, there is always more to discover. This humility keeps us grounded and prevents complacency. It pushes us to seek out new information, ask questions, and remain eager to improve. In doing so, we develop resilience because we understand that setbacks are natural parts of the process. Instead of being discouraged by failures, we view them as opportunities to learn what doesn't work and to refine our approach. Each mistake becomes a stepping stone toward mastery. Cultivating a growth mindset, a term popularized by psychologist Carol Dweck, is essential in this process. It is the belief that our abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication and effort. This mindset fosters motivation, perseverance, and a love for learning that sustains us through life's ups and downs. Learning and growth are also deeply intertwined with self-awareness. As we pursue knowledge, we better understand ourselves, their motivations, passions, strengths, and weaknesses. Self-awareness allows us to identify areas where we need improvement and to set meaningful goals for ourselves. It also helps us recognize patterns in our behavior, emotions, and reactions, enabling us to make conscious choices rather than automatic responses. Reflective practices such as journaling, meditation, or simply taking time to pause and evaluate our experiences can enhance self-awareness. When we understand ourselves more deeply, we can align our learning journey with our authentic purpose, making growth more intentional and fulfilling. Learning and growth thrive in environments of support and community. Surrounding ourselves with curious, motivated individuals creates a fertile ground for shared knowledge and collective inspiration. Engaging in discussions, collaborations, and mentorships exposes us to diverse perspectives and accelerates our development. Teaching others is also a powerful way to deepen our understanding, as it requires us to clarify our thoughts and knowledge. The act of sharing what we learn reinforces our own growth and fosters a sense of contribution and connection. Conversely, remaining isolated or resistant to new ideas can hinder progress. Growth often involves letting go of fixed beliefs and being willing to adapt based on new information. Adaptability is a key component of learning and growth. The world is constantly changing, and our ability to adapt determines how effectively we navigate life's uncertainties. Being flexible in our thinking and approach allows us to seize new opportunities and respond constructively to setbacks. It encourages innovation and resilience, qualities essential for personal and professional success. Learning how to adapt involves cultivating patience, persistence, and a willingness to experiment. It means viewing change not as a threat, but as an avenue for development. Each new challenge offers a chance to learn something valuable and to strengthen our capacity to handle future obstacles. Growth also requires patience and perseverance. True transformation does not happen overnight. It is a gradual process that demands consistent effort and a willingness to persist despite obstacles. Celebrating small wins along the way keeps motivation high and reminds us that progress is happening, even if it is slow. Recognizing that setbacks are part of the journey allows us to maintain a positive attitude and stay committed to our goals. Overcoming difficulties builds resilience, which in turn fuels further learning and growth. The process of continuous improvement becomes a cycle. Each new skill or insight builds confidence, inspiring us to pursue even greater heights. Learning and growth are about embracing change, seeking improvement, and cultivating a mindset of curiosity and resilience. They involve pushing boundaries, questioning assumptions, and remaining open to new experiences. Every day offers opportunities to learn something new, whether through reading, listening, observing, or engaging with others. And these lessons shape our worldview and character. As we grow, we develop not only skills and knowledge, but also a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the world. This ongoing process of learning and growth enriches our lives, making us more adaptable, compassionate, and fulfilled individuals. It reminds us that no matter where we are or what challenges we face, there is always room to learn, improve, and evolve into the best versions of ourselves. Prioritizing inner peace is a vital pursuit that influences every aspect of our lives, from our relationships and careers to our health and overall well-being. In a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable, cultivating a sense of calm within ourselves becomes an anchor, a source of stability and clarity amid external turbulence. Inner peace is not merely the absence of conflict or stress. It is a state of harmony and balance within the mind and heart, allowing us to navigate life's challenges with resilience and grace. Making conscious efforts to prioritize this inner tranquility can profoundly transform our experience, helping us to lead more fulfilling, authentic lives. Achieving inner peace begins with self-awareness and acceptance. Recognizing our thoughts, emotions, and reactions without judgment allows us to understand what disturbs our peace and what nurtures it. Often, internal unrest stems from resisting change, uncertainty, or our own feelings. When we accept our current reality and acknowledge our emotions without suppression or denial, we create space for healing and serenity. Acceptance is not resignation, rather, it is an active process of embracing life as it is while maintaining the intention to grow and improve. This mindset helps diminish the mental chatter and emotional upheavals that can cloud our sense of calm. Letting go of attachments and expectations plays a crucial role in prioritizing inner peace. We frequently cling to specific outcomes, possessions, or relationships, believing that their loss or absence threatens our happiness. These attachments create dependency on external circumstances, which are inherently unpredictable. By cultivating detachment and practicing gratitude for what we have, we shift our focus inward. Gratitude helps us appreciate the present moment and reduces feelings of lack or longing, fostering contentment and peace. Detachment does not mean apathy or disengagement. It involves recognizing what is within our control and accepting what is not, thus freeing ourselves from unnecessary suffering caused by attachment. In addition to acceptance and detachment, cultivating mindfulness is a powerful tool for prioritizing inner peace. Mindfulness involves paying deliberate attention to the present moment with openness and curiosity, without judgment. When we practice mindfulness through meditation, breathing exercises, or simply being fully present during everyday activities, we create a pause, an opportunity to observe our thoughts and feelings rather than being overwhelmed by them. This awareness allows us to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively, reducing stress and fostering clarity. Over time, mindfulness becomes a natural part of our daily life, helping us to maintain inner tranquility even amidst external chaos. Setting boundaries is another essential aspect of safeguarding inner peace. We often underestimate how much our environment and relationships influence our mental state. By establishing healthy boundaries, we protect ourselves from negativity, overcommitment, and toxic influences that drain our energy. Saying no when necessary, limiting exposure to negative media, and prioritizing activities that uplift us are acts of self-respect that preserve our emotional and mental well-being. Boundaries also create space for self-care, reflection, and solitude, all vital for reconnecting with our inner selves and restoring peace. Practicing forgiveness is instrumental in maintaining inner harmony. Holding on to resentment, guilt, or anger creates internal turmoil that disrupts tranquility. Forgiveness is a process of releasing these burdens, freeing ourselves from the chains of past hurts. It does not mean condoning harmful behavior, but rather choosing to let go of the emotional poison that keeps us stuck. Forgiving ourselves is equally important, as self-compassion heals wounds and fosters inner warmth. When we forgive, we reclaim our peace and open our hearts to love, understanding, and acceptance. Simplifying life is another pathway to inner peace. In our quest for achievement and accumulation, we often complicate our lives with unnecessary commitments and possessions. Decluttering our physical space, reducing mental clutter through meditation or journaling, and focusing on what truly matters help create a sense of spaciousness and calm. Prioritizing quality over quantity enables us to invest our time and energy in meaningful pursuits, relationships, passions, and self-growth that nourish our soul. A simpler life reduces stress, enhances clarity, and allows us to cultivate a peaceful state of mind. Self-care is fundamental to nurturing inner peace. Taking time for activities that replenish our energy, whether it's spending time in nature, engaging in creative pursuits, practicing yoga, or simply resting, restores our mental and emotional reserves. Nourishing our body with healthy food, staying hydrated, and getting adequate sleep also contribute to a balanced state of mind. When we honor our needs and listen to our body and spirit, we reinforce our capacity for inner calm. Ultimately, prioritizing inner peace requires a conscious commitment to ourselves. It involves making choices aligned with our well-being and recognizing that peace is an ongoing practice, not a one-time achievement. It calls for patience, compassion, and resilience, especially when external circumstances are challenging. By cultivating inner peace, we create a sanctuary within that remains steadfast amid life's storms. It enriches our relationships, enhances our capacity for compassion, and grants us the clarity to pursue our true purpose. As we nurture this inner sanctuary, we find ourselves better equipped to face difficulties, to appreciate beauty in the small moments, and to live authentically and peacefully. Prioritizing inner peace is ultimately an act of nurturing our most authentic self, a gentle reminder that within us lies a wellspring of calm waiting to be tapped into, a sanctuary that sustains us through the ebbs and flows of life.